Where did we see experience coming up as a diversity issue? Balanced against education. Right, when they were looking at Brad, and they hired Brad because he had the MBA from Stanford, as opposed to Linda, who had some experience that there was to be valued. And Eugene kind of went to bat for Linda, did he not? He said, you know, experience counts for something. She built the department from the bottom up. She'd been there for, well, we don't know how many years, but probably quite a few. In fact, we can actually ask Linda that when she comes back out, how long has she been there and how she feels about this decision. Okay? So the assumption that was that because Brad had an MBA, that was the end-all and be-all of his being qualified for the position. What about sexual orientation? Where did we see that come up? In the cafeteria, right. Okay, what happened in the cafeteria? Yeah, Brad came out to his boss, and his boss had quite an interesting little reaction, didn't he? And actually, when he said, what did he say? He had to go wash his hands, okay? That got a big reaction from people, I noticed. It was a big ooh that overcame the audience. How many of you make phone calls, personal phone calls, from the office? Raise your hand. Okay, anybody whose hand isn't up, you're either not participating or you're lying. Okay? Personal style. Linda. She had quite a personal style all her own, didn't she? How many folks in the room think that Linda was screwed over for that promotion? She was just screwed out of that promotion. Keep your hands up. How many of you would want Linda as your manager? Oh, so the hands go down. It's like, yeah, drug rehab programs are very important, but not in my backyard. So, in the spirit of the Jerry Springer Show, let's have a big round of applause for our guests. We have Rich, Eugene, Pat, Linda, and Brad.
I don't like to play games. I don't like this particular game. And I've worked very hard, yes. That's just the way I am. There's nothing more really that I can say. I'm a very direct person, and I'm not going to adopt this insidious management style that I feel this company has, and that's not how I operate.
So how long do you think you'll last at your next position?
Why, are you questioning that?
I have a question for Rich. Having known that Linda has worked for you for 15 years and knowing her personality, why didn't you call her in your office and discuss her problem with dealing with people if that's what you thought the problem was?
That was done on several occasions in the past. Every time I've tried to broach that subject and discuss it with her, I was greeted with hostility and smart remarks and total disrespect and a wall coming down. I mean, just total denial. And I gave up, to tell you the truth. I mean, after 15 years and several tries, I gave up. A good example, I mean, she doesn't really care, I guess. I had an encounter with her in Pat's office, which you observed. I was perfectly cordial to her. I mean, maybe a little tense, but who wouldn't be? And as I walk out of the office, I haven't closed the door, and she says, "Estupido," you know. And she says it knowing I'm going to hear, and she doesn't care. Maybe she thinks because it's in Spanish, I won't understand.
Why did you take offense to Brad's comment that the graffiti must have been caused by neighborhood kids?
Well, that's not exactly what he said. He said to me that you have to expect vandalism when you live or when you work in a city empowerment zone, something like that. And you have to understand that I've never seen Brad before in my life. There's some issues that I have around race, but I've never seen Brad before. And for him to make a statement like that, and then when I ask him, what do you mean exactly by that statement? And he has not addressed it even to this day. Yes, I had a problem with what he said.
Is it not an assumption, though, that Brad was referring specifically to people of your race?
Well, you know what? The building is in an area with people that look like me, that look like Eugene, and they look like Linda. I also live in that area, and a lot of times growing up, I've heard very negative things about the inner city. And that's where I grow up. So I don't know if Brad was specifically talking about black people, but when I asked him and he could not respond to that, yes, I have a problem with it.
So,
Do you think perhaps he was a little frightened by your reaction?
I'm sorry, what are you suggesting?
Brad, after his reaction, are you sorry that you confessed what you did?
No, it wasn't really much of a confession, but no, I'm
Poor
not.
choice of words on my part.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with. I mean, obviously his reaction to me, I totally thought it was a homophobic response. I was upset by it.
Well, why are we assuming it was a homophobic response?
Why'd you wash your hands?
You know, I mean, his whole demeanor just changed, and
I
he
think
had to
that's
go wash his hands
I think
too.
that's
I mean,
a huge assumption.
well, the question out here was, why'd you wash your hands?
Why do you think I washed my hands? Because I'm homophobic and wanted to and I was afraid I touched him.
I don't know. Why did you wash your hands? I'm just curious.
My mother told me that I should wash my hands before every meal.
But you already grabbed the enchilada.
No,
I know that there are probably some other questions out there, but we're out of time. I do need 5 minutes to wrap up before we break. So I'd like to remind you all first, these are actors. Do not beat them up when you see them in the hallway, okay? And actually, let's have a hand for them.